Welcome to the Rideshare Guy Podcast, the site that's dedicated to helping drivers earn more money by working smarter, not harder. So whether you drive for Lyft, Uber, Sidecar, or anything in between, we've got you covered. And now, here's your host, Harry Campbell.
What's going on, everybody? Harry here, and welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Guy Podcast. We're all the way up to episode number 48, and today we're going to talk about how to run a rideshare video training course, and more specifically, how we run my rideshare video training course, MaximumRidesharingProfits.com. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So if it's your first time listening to the show, normally we cover a topic that's a little bit more specific or more related to rideshare, but today is going to be more of an inside look at how I run my business and more specifically how we run our video training course. So most of it will focus on how we're running the course, but we'll also provide some good insight into why I decided to create this video training course in the first place for drivers, where our sales are coming from, and how we market it, and more. There's a ton of great info in here. And the first time I did this type of episode was back in episode 26, and we talked about how I make money with a blog. So that was a fun episode for me to record because I think it gave a lot of good insight into how I run my business, and it also just provided some transparency too, because as you guys know, I really like to be transparent with this business, and the podcast is probably the place where I'm the most transparent, right? As you guys have probably noticed, I basically interview people who I want to talk to, drivers with interesting stories, people who have founded companies, entrepreneurs like Chris Guillebeau who aren't even super directly related to Uber, but have some business experience that we can learn from and see how I can tie it back into driving for Uber. So that's always a fun challenge for me. And as you guys know, one of the topics I love, or the main topic that I'm into, is entrepreneurship. And obviously, it's a natural fit for the podcast because Uber drivers are entrepreneurs. You are business owners, some more so than others. But I know a lot of you also have other entrepreneurial ventures out there, right? Outside of rideshare, businesses that you own, businesses that you're trying to start, or maybe you're just looking at this as something that you can leverage into something bigger and better, right? And I think that there's so many parallels between driving for Uber and running a rideshare business and starting your own business, whatever it might be in. So, the reason why I think this episode is going to be cool, though, is because for all of you who have an interest in something, creating digital products like a video training course or like an ebook is really one of the best ways to monetize your knowledge, monetize your following, etc. And it's scalable too, right? There's really no limits to how big your business can grow. And that's one of the things that I love about working online, is that you can create this tiny little thing and solve this tiny little problem, but the potential is unlimited, right? If you go and rent a 1,000 square foot store, there's a certain number of people that can be in your store at all times, right? With the online space, there's no limit. And that's one of the things that I love, is just there's so much potential, and not everyone is successful and will even come close to that full potential, but you never know if you don't give it a shot. So I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this one, especially if you're interested in building or growing a platform. And I mean, speaking of running a really efficient and just a smart business, you guys know that as drivers, it's important to diversify your income and work for multiple platforms, right? DoorDash is a great option to have because they're actually one of the biggest names in the delivery game right now. Drivers stay busy, they're making good money, and it provides a different experience than driving for a rideshare company like Uber or Lyft. I mean, honestly, I think it's a great option to have for those times when Uber and Lyft are slow, right? One of the nice things that I found from signing up with DoorDash and trying out the service as a dasher is that the highest earning DoorDash hours actually often correlate to the lowest earning rideshare hours. So what do I mean by that? Basically, lunchtime is a perfect example on the weekdays. DoorDash is super busy on weekdays during lunch, obviously, because a lot of people might be at work or at home or whatever it might be, but they're ordering lunch. They're busy, right? So that's when it's slammed for only a couple hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours at the most, but you can make a lot of money during those times. And guess what? During rideshare on a Tuesday afternoon at 12 o'clock, most rideshare drivers are probably taking naps because it's so slow. So that's one of the nice things. You can really see how these services work together. When it's super busy and slamming on Uber and Lyft, go drive for them. But when it's slower on Uber and Lyft and there's opportunities for DoorDash, go and drive for them. I mean, another time is weekends. Weekends are great for Uber and Lyft, but I mean, sometimes it's oversaturated with rideshare. Weekends are super busy with DoorDash, Sundays especially, right? So that's sort of one of the nice things, that I really like. And then, of course, as a backup plan, if you get deactivated from rideshare or something happens with your account, it's always good. There's some crazy reasons that can happen. And I mean, I'll even share a quick story. I got an email the other day from a driver who picked up a passenger reeking of marijuana. And then his next passenger smelled it and was all, "Hey, dude, why does it smell like pot in your car?" And actually reported him to Uber. And that driver was temporarily deactivated while Uber looked into his account. Eventually, he was reactivated, but it wasn't for 3 days, right? So he didn't make money for 3 days. Now, obviously, having a service like DoorDash is a no-brainer, right? So that you at least have that income opportunity, right? You don't want to kind of limit yourself. You want to diversify your income. And I think that's a nice parlay into everything we're going to talk about today. So definitely a no-brainer. Sign up with a service like DoorDash. You can actually use our link, therideshareguy.com/dasher. We'll leave all that info, all the episode show notes and more at therideshareguy.com/episode 48. We're going to talk a lot about different products and different tools that we're using on this course, and we'll leave all that info in the show notes in case you forget or in case you want to look into it a little bit more. So this episode and show notes can actually be found right at therideshareguy.com/episode 48, but make sure you also stay tuned to the end of this episode, because we're actually going to tell you exactly how much money we're making and how much we're selling of this course, where those sales are coming from, all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and without further ado, let's get started. So I actually launched the Rideshare Guy blog and podcast back in May of 2014, which feels like a super long time ago. I started writing about 3 articles a week and doing 1 podcast every 2 weeks. So if you haven't listened to every single episode, so if you have listened to every single episode of the podcast, you actually might remember that first episode I did where I think I talked about where to find passenger pickup. So we've come a long way since. And if you've listened to every single episode, shoot me an email and maybe I'll have something for you, or at least be able to tell you thanks, because if you've listened to me for 40 plus episodes, that's a feat in itself. But basically, for this first year of running the Rideshare Guy, I really mainly focused on just building up the audience, right? I mean, I had a little experience blogging, so I knew that I'd be able to monetize this site. I just had to get enough people coming to it, right? And so that was really my goal. It wasn't trying to make as much money as possible. It was really trying to build that audience and build that long-term business. And I will say, during that first year, it was nice because I was making some of the money off driver referrals that you guys are probably familiar with, but it was really our only source of income. And at the end of 1 year, I looked at things and the blog had grown, the traffic had grown, the podcast was getting lots of listens and downloads, but our only real source of income was those driver referrals. And not that that was necessarily a bad thing, but I wanted to have some diversification, right? Just like I talked about at the beginning of the show with diversifying between rideshare services like Uber and delivery services like DoorDash, the same thing applied to me and my business, right? So there are obviously a lot of ways you can monetize a site, and I've covered that before, but what I really wanted to do, and actually what I was passionate about too, was building a video training course. So you guys have probably heard me mention it, but it's at MaximumRideSharingProfits.com. And this was something that I was interested in because I was finding that a lot of people were wanting help. They were wanting to learn more information. And this was one of the reasons why I started my site was because I saw a business opportunity, but I also saw the opportunity to help people. And I think that there are a lot of cool businesses that you can form that help people, but also make you money. And that was one thing that I liked about starting the Rideshare Guy in general and the video training course, right? You never really, what I've found is that you never want to do something solely because of the money. Obviously, you have to make money and get paid and be able to pay the bills. But if you're looking to start a business, if you're looking to be super successful over the long term, if money is your primary factor, you're probably not going to have a lot of success. You're probably not going to be that happy. So why did I decide on a video training course? So number one, digital products are typically very high margin, right? So whether it's an ebook or whether it's a video course or a training course or something like that, up until that, a lot of the work that you do with these digital products, you do it upfront, right? You spend a lot of time creating the content, marketing and promoting it, and your expenses are very low though going forward. It's a lot of time, but obviously time is sort of free depending on how you look at it. And you own the product, right? With a digital product, the nice thing about that is that you own it going forward, right? So with something more like an affiliate product or even driver referrals, right? If those companies change the terms or change whatever payouts or whatever it might be, or get rid of it altogether, you're basically at their mercy, right? Which is not the best place to be. So the nice thing with those digital products is that you own it. Now, number two reason, right? I also wanted to experiment with video because really up until that point, I'd only been doing podcasts and articles, right? But video seemed like a fun new challenge. So I saw, and I will say, right, I saw lots of other people on YouTube being successful, having success. And I wanted to see if I could do that too. That's a lot of the reasons of how I got into blogging and podcasting. I was a big fan of blogs and big fan of listening to podcasts, and I wanted to see if I could do it too. Now, the video was sort of that natural transition. I saw it as a challenge, and I figured that it would be a nice leverage into this video training course, right? Obviously, if I'm doing videos on YouTube, then hopefully these people that are watching me on YouTube might want to buy my course. So that was the second reason. Now, number three, I also wanted to leverage a lot of the content I'd created, right? So at the time, I had done about 100, 150 posts, dozens of podcasts, and I was starting to create videos, right? So this is about that 1 year mark. Now, I had some free guides and I had some email courses and things like that, but video is obviously much more compelling. And I really didn't have that crash course type of product where if someone came to me and said, hey, I want to know everything there is to know about being a rideshare driver, I would say, well, go read the 100 articles on my site and go filter through this and filter through that, which you can imagine not a lot of people are going to do. Now, I kind of pride myself on the fact that we give away 90 or 95% or even more of our content for free. But it is scattered. It is all over the place. It's a combination of YouTube videos, podcasts, and articles, right? So for that person who's willing to pay, right, for that person who is willing to get that crash course, right, it makes sense to have a product for them. So that's sort of the reasons why I thought this video training course would make a lot of sense. Now, in order to actually get the course done, I mean, I knew a lot about creating the content, what I was going to do, but I didn't know anything about launching a video course or really a training course in general. And typically, my strategy in business and just life in general is that I don't mind learning new things, trying new things out, but if they're super time or labor intensive, I only want to learn it if I'm going to do it again or if I'm going to do it multiple times, right? And so with this video course, I was thinking to myself, well, I don't know for sure that I'm going to want to ever create another video course, or definitely probably not going to create multiple video courses. So it seemed like it would make more sense to find someone who has experience doing the video courses to at least teach me and show me the ropes so that, hey, in the future, if I did want to do one by myself, or if I did do another one, I would have that nice starting point, that nice base, right, to kind of go off of. And, you know, honestly, I don't remember exactly how I came across this guy, but luckily I came across Brian Cole on YouTube, and he had a popular YouTube channel at the time, and he was a rideshare driver too, and he had an online marketing background in which he'd created a bunch of video courses. So it was sort of like the perfect storm or combination, depending on how you look at it. Now, Brian and I, we ended up working together on this course, Maximum Ride Sharing Profits. We built it, we marketed it, and we launched that course in April of 2015, and it was successful. So Brian doesn't actually work with me on the course anymore, but he was definitely, you know, you can see him present in the videos, and he's a co-instructor on the course. So definitely contributed there. But I did hire a new guy who we're going to hear from shortly, and he actually oversees the day-to-day operations of the course and now executes a lot of our marketing, content strategies, and more. So I'm going to bring him on. You guys actually may be familiar with his voice. He's been on the Rideshare Guy podcast before. So Doug Herrera, how are you doing today?
Hey, Harry, I'm doing really good. How about you?
Awesome, man. Good to hear your voice. Good to see your face. So for those who don't remember, you are actually the second-time guest on the Rideshare Guy podcast. So I think that's a big accomplishment. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate the opportunity. I do remember, back on your episode 22, I came on and talked about being what it was like being one of the first Lyft drivers in Orange County, California. So awesome. Good amount of time has gone on since then, though.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say that, so if you haven't listened to that episode 22, obviously, now that I have Doug on, I have to say it was a great episode. You should go listen to it. But We did talk about some cool stuff. And from that relationship, though, kind of getting to know each other, we actually found that obviously we have a lot in common, you running your own blog and having an online marketing background. And when this opportunity sort of arose for me basically needing someone help to manage everything with maximum ride sharing profits, you sort of stepped up to the plate and were very eager to work with me. And I think we've been working together for over a year now. And I'd say it's gone well, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's gone really well. We've done a lot of good work on the course, and I think it's been about a year and a half now since I came on.
Very cool. Yeah. And, we're going to basically switch the conversation right now to really what we do, kind of, how this course works, how this course operates, what we're doing to get more sales, and really kind of give this behind the scenes looks, as I talked about earlier, all the reasons why I think you guys will like listening to it. So, Doug, I guess the first question for you, that is something I've been thinking about. What would you consider, do you have a title working for me or working together? What do you think?
No, I don't think I have a title, but if I had to think of one on the spot, I guess it would be behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, so I don't know if we would quite put that on a business card, but I think that's a good summation of exactly what you do, right?
Yeah, you're the face of the course, and I'm kind of in the background, kind of keeping things going and making things work and spreading the word.
Awesome. So yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about what would you consider kind of your role in maximum ride sharing profits? What do you kind of do on the day-to-day basis or even week-to-week basis to help us out?
I'd say so. On the day-to-day basis, I kind of handle the back-end support. So if a customer has issues, I help them solve that. If there's a new feature that we want to test out, I'm installing that. I'm just generally keeping the site up and running and answering people's questions and things like that. And then my other big main role is in, as you kind of referred to earlier, is in marketing and promotion. So one of the big reasons you brought me on was to help, grow the course. Like you and Brian had built this great course, and it was already starting to sell, but then you brought me on to make it to grow it and make those sales grow. So that's my big second role at the site.
Yeah, perfect. And I think that sums it up very well. So, I've sort of already given some background on why I started this course and talked a lot. So I'm going to let you kind of take over. And why don't you walk us through the nuts and bolts of how the course is set up? Because I think a lot of people who may be familiar with this course or just training courses in general might see something on the outside and maybe they think it looks really easy or maybe they think it looks really tough. Personally, I'm sort of in the latter. When I was looking into starting a video course, it seemed like a ton of work. And I think that it is to some degree, but it isn't, it's not rocket science. I think anyone can figure it out. So, just from, kind of the original starting point, if someone was looking to launch something like this, why don't we walk through sort of what we do and what we have set up? But I guess, starting with like a domain and hosting, right? Is that the first place to start?
Yeah, it is. And it does. Yeah, I agree. Building something like this does seem like a crazy, big, intimidating project, but no one involved in this course, you're not a professional web developer. Brian wasn't a professional web developer, and neither am I. But we've all been resourceful enough to kind of use these inexpensive and widely available resources to build something great. So, kind of the backbone of the site, the blueprint of the site starts with the domain and hosting. We're on a service called Deluxe Hosting. It's an inexpensive shared hosting service. And the site is built in WordPress, like a lot of sites online are. And then we use this other tool called Optimize Press to make it a little bit easier to build attractive pages. So when you look at the home page or when you look at the course video pages, those are built with Optimize Press, and it's actually fairly easy to use. So that's nice. And for members of the course, when you become a member, you get a username and a password. So you log in, and if you're not logged in, you can't see certain pages, so there's that feature. And to pull that off, we use a service called Digital Access Pass, which is a membership site software. Also pretty inexpensive. And then just to host and stream the content, we use a Vimeo plan. We did spring for a little bit of a premium Vimeo plan, but I think it's not even $100 a year. So kind of all of these tools work together to make what you see. And it's pretty accessible to anyone. Anyone can do it with some hard work and research. So
yeah, definitely. And I'd love to kind of briefly dissect each one of those items, because I think a lot of people are probably familiar with domain and hosting. I mean, GoDaddy. So I think actually the domain, I have it through GoDaddy. And so that is pretty simple to get set up. I think that's what, $12 a year. And your first year, usually they get you that pretty cheaply. But then, I think a lot of people might also be familiar with sort of the big hosting companies, right? Kind of the Bluehost or the HostGator. And, so those are sort of like the two basic entry level companies, right? And we actually have been having problems with our host Deluxe. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be recommending it right now on this podcast interview.
Me neither, but as kind of behind the scenes guy, that's one of the things that I kind of have to monitor too and think about. And, like I'll probably, research and propose to Harry like what some good alternatives to our current host is, because we're not really happy with Deluxe hosting. So hopefully that'll get better.
Definitely. And I mean, the nice thing is that, these Bluehosts or GoDaddy or HostGator, or really any of these kind of big name companies are great starting places. Would you agree with that? I mean, if you're just kind of getting started and you don't have a ton of traffic yet, is that the place to start?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't need, getting started, you definitely don't need to pay more than $10 a month for hosting. And that's definitely something that you can get on Bluehost or GoDaddy or HostGator. You can pay even less. You can pay $5 a month.
Yeah.
So, and those work just fine until you get pretty significant traffic.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I will say, so you touched on WordPress, which is another, basically that's what I kind of consider the most popular blogging platform. And a lot of self-hosted blogs are on WordPress. And basically it just allows you to kind of create posts and pages and drag and drop. And I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is it's sort of like building a website for someone who doesn't know anything how to build a website. It's pretty intuitive, I think, right?
Yeah, it's true. And actually, a lot of professional websites that you'd think were built from scratch are not, and they're actually built using WordPress, just because it's just a great kind of foundation for really any kind of site, especially blogging, and especially if you focus pretty heavy on content, because any writer that you hire or guest post that you come on can log in, and it's just very easy and intuitive to type out a post and hit publish, and it ends up looking good online.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think a big thing too that I've learned from starting the Rideshare Guy and then doing this course is that, it's important to kind of get something up there. I mean, if you have a design course or a design blog, you probably want to make the design of your site a little bit better. But if you're just, my primary and our primary product is content, right? Good content. And, I think a lot of people get caught up in all the details, like, what do I need to do this? What do I, the hosting and the landing pages and things like that. And for me, I think what we found is sort of just get something up there and then try to increase, the top of the funnel, right? The people coming to the course. And then later on down the road, you can kind of start thinking about tweaking and optimizing, things like that. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Getting bogged down in design, it probably stops, the vast majority of people. So just getting started and doing it is what matters. And like you said, later down the line, if you want to get, maybe hire a professional to spruce things up a bit, you can do that. But I think for a lot of people that, that's not really all that important.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to, one of the reasons why I tell anyone, almost everyone should probably have some type of website to their name, or if they're looking to launch their own product or service or freelancing or whatever. I mean, you kind of want to go with your own I guess you would call it like a self-hosted, or not self-hosted, but your own domain name, right? You don't want to have like a harry.wordpress.com, or you don't want to have a harry.blogspot.com, because it allows you to grow, right? It sort of allows you that, hey, if you have your own site, and if you have WordPress installed, the sky is the limit, right? If you have a WordPress blog, you can grow as big or stay as little as you want. So it's nice to give you that opportunity to get bigger.
And you own your own content and you own your own space. You can really do whatever you want with your site, and no one can, basically tell you what to do with it. If you're all in on one platform, like you're only a YouTuber, or maybe you're only like a Reddit poster or forum poster or something like that, those sites might go away. They might ban your account, something like that. But when you own your own site and you own your own domain, it's, your content can be there for as long as you pay for hosting.
Yeah.
And no one can shut you down.
Yeah, and so I think you mentioned that we also use Optimize Press, which
Yeah.
is sort of like a landing page, so when you land on the homepage, I think that's created with Optimize Press. And I think we sort of are using it, and I think that it works well, but I do think there are a few other options, maybe even better options out there too. I think Lead Pages is one. Would that be right? And then there are a couple others, right?
Yeah, there's like Thrive Content Builder's another
Mhm.
pretty popular one I've heard of and worked with personally. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of different options for easy drag and drop visual kind of things. And actually at this point, Optimized Press is getting a little bit kind of old.
Yeah.
And we've kind of kicked around, Harry and I, we've kicked around the idea of maybe upgrading, switching to something else. But for now, it's working pretty well.
Yeah, and then I think the most important software that we're using might be Digital Access Pass, because that's actually what allows you to have that course feature, right? That allows you to, create usernames and link up with PayPal. So that's another thing that we're actually linked with. So that's how we accept our payments. We accept our payments through PayPal, and you can pay obviously through your PayPal account or a credit card. And it seems like we haven't had too many problems there, but so that Digital Access Pass, and I know there are other options too, but that's the one. And so it's basically a WordPress plugin that we use, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's the step that probably seems like the most intimidating to a lot of people. Like how could you ever program or make something where people could log in and things like that? But it turns out that that's just a very commonly available plugin. And there's other ones like Wishlist Members, another popular one that's pretty affordable. And it makes it so that, you don't have to be a professional web developer to make a membership site. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I think hopefully what people are sort of, hopefully what the listeners and viewers are getting out of this is really that there are multiple ways to skin a cat, right? There are a lot of options for each different thing. And it's sort of, one person might prefer one over the other, but I think really what it comes down to at the end of the day, if you're going to do it, kind of do your due diligence, do your research, but then pick one and go with it, right? Because there's always going to be multiple options, and these companies are all successful for a reason, because some people like them more than others. And, even with the last thing, with the Vimeo, we have our content on Vimeo, but if you wanted to do it for free and not pay, you could put it up on YouTube, right? So there's options at every one of these levels, right?
Yep, that's right, and that's what we've done. When I came onto the project, you and Brian had already built it out until it was fully functioning, and since then, even though I've had my own personal experience and opinions, I haven't changed the core setup, because, like you said, I completely agree. You pick something, you go with it, and unless there are really like extreme problems, you stick with it. And we haven't really had any extreme problems, so we've stuck with our setup.
Definitely. And because kind of like going back to what we think is the most important, right, is that making sure that you have that content and then figuring out how to get people over to your site or to your course in order to buy that content. Which
that's the part I've been working on, is trying to get people in.
Which is the fun part, right? And so obviously, right, you can't just release a course and hope people will find it. So what are we doing to kind of promote this course, and what are we doing to get people over to those landing pages we have, and what are we doing to get them to buy it?
Yeah, I'd say the kind of the big, the big broad strategies that we've been using are email. So collecting, getting email subscribers and then using that email list to ask people to buy the course. The other big one is traffic from Google, or organic traffic. We've been publishing a lot of content, and a lot of it has been doing pretty well on the search engines. So when people search for certain kind of ride sharing keywords, maximum ride sharing profits comes up, they find our site. And then, on the site, we have a lot of different areas where we ask people to, take a look at the course and consider buying it. And so that's also a lot of, the other strategy is like that on-page optimization. So using tools to collect emails, also using tools that bring, to call people to action and to get them to kind of check out the course and read the sales page. So those are kind of
so what's an example of like a tool we use on page in order to get people to check out the course or get people to sign up to our email list?
Yeah, we use SumoMe, which is kind of an email subscriber tool. So SumoMe, if for the very first time you come to the site, you land on the site, and basically a pop-up comes up that asks people to sign up to get our free email course, and that's using a tool called SumoMe. And that's another kind of like just basically WordPress plugin that's pretty easy to use, that's really effective. Now, also to store and manage those emails, we use Aweber, which is another very popular, widely used email service online. So those two, SumoMe and Aweber, kind of work in conjunction to help us collect people's email addresses.
Yeah, and that's sort of the nice thing, that a lot of these services integrate and are sort of designed and built to work well together and sort of play nice together. So it might sound like you have all these different things going on, but they really, a lot of times it's just one click to install WordPress. It's one click to link SumoMe to Aweber, right? And it is definitely pretty nice. So I kind of want to talk about, I mean, you talked about we're building out this big email list. What we're using these SumoMe pop-ups, and for anyone who's been on the site, they've probably seen these pop-ups, or just in general, right? Kind of asking you to contribute your email. And the reason why so many sites have that is because they work, right? People are, so why are we trying to build this big email list? What's the point of building an email list? Why would someone out there want to do it?
Well, we offer, the thing that just tries to persuade people to join the list right away is a 6-day email course called The Business of Rideshare, which some of Harry's kind of best content about, making your rideshare job kind of more like a legit business. So, setting yourself up as more of a business so that you can save on taxes, and also just other, great tips about, airports and pickup tactics and things like that, that really, that are very valuable, and when delivered, the way we deliver them on email, are very digestible, like, kind of a once a day little snippet that's like really loaded with good advice. So that's what's incentivizing people to get into our email list. And then once they're in our email list, we also use it as a chance to send out just our best content. So when you visit us, when you Google and you visit a site, or let's say you come to Maximum Ride Sharing Profits from the Rideshare Guide, maybe you read a page or two and then leave. But if you sign up for our email list, somewhere down the line, we'll basically send you some of our other best posts, because now Maximum Ride Sharing Profits has a lot of different posts and articles on it, and a lot of them are really worth seeing. So we set up an email autoresponder that sends out this the best content. So
yeah, definitely.
And of course, in those emails and on those posts, we also say, hey, we have a more advanced course. Check it out here.
Yeah, and so, one thing too about the organic traffic, that we're building, obviously, it's not quite as easy. Well, maybe it is as easy. I mean, because really what we did though was we realized that, hey, Harry, me, I'm publishing, I almost talked about myself in the third person, but I'm publishing all these videos on YouTube, and every time we release a video on YouTube, they actually don't get blasted out, right? They don't get sent out, and that's one of the downsides of creating content on other people's platforms, is that you don't have control. You can't send out an email blast every time you do a post like we do on the blog or the podcast. And so we decided, hey, let's transcribe all of these videos that have great content on YouTube, and now we can send them out as a video article, basically package, over on Maximum Ride Sharing Profits blog. And I think we've seen a lot of success from doing that. And really what we're doing is just leveraging our content from one platform to the other in a way that seems to be working pretty well.
Really great idea of yours, and that's what's kind of given us all of our Google traffic, our organic traffic, is those video transcripts. What's the video transcription service called that you use?
So we use a service called SpeechPad.
Yeah, so SpeechPad does a really good job transcribing these videos, and then I go in and kind of clean them up a little bit and make them a little bit more readable, and also add in a little bit of extra content to make them a little bit more kind of Google friendly for search engine optimization. And the result has been, building up traffic, getting traffic from Google. And that's actually where a good number of our new sales are coming from. So that's cool. And yeah, like you were saying, Harry, it's making kind of one piece of work in a lot of different ways for you. So this one video you recorded is now, doing double duty for you in, many different ways. So
definitely. So before we keep listeners in suspense for too much longer, about how much are we selling on this course each month?
So we're selling around 30 courses every month, and the courses are $97 each. So it comes out to a pretty nice number.
Yeah, and then I think we don't have a ton of expenses either. We sort of talked about some of those services earlier. Some of them, I guess, are one-time fees. Some of them are monthly. But about what's our expenses at?
Yeah, so we do have basically some monthly fixed costs, and it's around $150 a month. And that's coming from web hosting, our email service. SumoMe is also an ongoing expense. And then the big variable monthly expense that we have are payouts to affiliates. So some months we have a lot of affiliate sales, so we have to pay them a good amount. And then other months that we don't have as many affiliate sales, so we don't have to pay as much.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the variable one.
And so the affiliate program is interesting. So we can talk a little bit about where those sales come from now. And I guess we'll start with affiliates, because the affiliate program is something that you and I launched a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know, time flies. But that's something that I think has gone pretty well for us. Do you want to explain a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, sure. So, broadly speaking, the affiliate program enables people to sign up to, help us promote the course. So an affiliate can sign up, get a special referral link, and then publish that link, anywhere on the web. And when people click their link and buy the course, the affiliate promoter gets credit for it, and we pay out $30 per sale. So that's pretty generous. And on the tech side, to pull that off, actually, it's a feature of Digital Access Pass. So our membership site software that we use to give people usernames and passwords, we also use to create affiliate accounts. So that's all just kind of one, smooth sailing process, where at the end of each month, we can use Digital Access Pass to check, like, hey, how many, affiliate promoters got sales, and then, make a payout.
Nice. Yeah. And it is a pretty smooth and simple affiliate program. The buyers of our course can also be affiliates. And then I think we get most of our affiliate sales, though, from larger other bloggers or YouTubers. So do you want to just briefly touch on like what types of affiliates we've had success with?
Yeah. So, YouTubers and other kind of rideshare bloggers. So Uberman is an affiliate for us. He's put a link to Maximum Ridesharing Profits in some of his top performing videos, and every month he gets some sales from videos he recorded months ago. So that's a nice little system for him. Also, just off the top of my head, I'm remembering Glenn, a guy named Glenn at thecasualcapitalist.com. So that's a site that's also focused on kind of employment and, making side hustles and things like that. Any sites that you can think of that I'm missing out on?
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. And so just kind of highlighting the fact that we do have affiliates from different arenas, not even just rideshare. Obviously, everyone has that we're working with has some articles about Uber and Lyft, but it's really just kind of finding those affiliates with high traffic posts, whether they are a rideshare blogger or not. And do you know about or maybe an exact breakdown of sort of where our sales are coming from?
Oh, yeah. They're coming from a couple different places. I wish I could put up a pie chart right here as a little visual aid, but a lot of our customers are coming from the rideshare guys, so your site, because they know you and like you, and they want to check your course out. Then we're also getting a lot of sales from people who've read our emails and accepted an offer in email. Also, organic traffic, so Google traffic, people Googling Uber keywords, finding our site, ending up buying the course, and also sales from affiliates. So the Ubermans and the other site owners who are, sending people our way are responsible for a good percentage of our sales.
Awesome. Cool. So kind of wrapping up, I mean, we've talked a lot about the areas where we've had some success. What do you think we've done the worst job at? What do you think we can improve going forward?
So I've thought that we could modernize the site a little bit design-wise. So earlier we were talking about, get it up, do it, find your audience. And we've done that. And then it's time to think about, okay, do we want to make this maybe a little bit more polished, a little bit more professional? I think that we could do a little bit better of a job on that. But it is, on the tech side, it is a little hard because of how kind of locked into our tools we are. So like Digital Access Pass and Optimize Press, those kind of work together. And sometimes to make things more polished, you have to unravel the old system. And so you have to weigh the costs and benefits. But I think we can improve there.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that I'd agree. And I think it sort of comes back to when you're first getting started, right? You sort of want to you don't want to just go and grab the first service you see. I think that if I did it again, I would probably look a little bit more carefully at some of those aspects. And not that we just went into it and picked one, but hey, pick one that we think will give us the best chance for long-term success. And then, hey, if you have to switch down the road, switch down the road. But I think it is, we've been able to obviously build up the sales pretty well with the tools we're using. And then now kind of going forward, we see these opportunities and which ones we want to pursue or not.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So awesome. Well, if I guess listeners or viewers are interested in learning a little bit more about this course or becoming an affiliate or anything like that, where should they go? Where should they head?
Well, if you just want to check out the course, go to MaximumRidesharingProfits.com. And if you're interested in being an affiliate, you can go to MaximumRidesharingProfits.com/affiliates.
Okay,
so
cool.
Pretty easy.
Awesome. Yeah, and we've got a lot more info. And of course, you can always contact myself or Doug, and we'll be sure to get back to you. So, Doug, thanks for coming on and being the first second-time guest on the Rideshare Guy podcast. And we're now on YouTube, so hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, great. Thanks for letting me on a second time to talk your ear off.
Awesome. Take care.
All right. Bye, Harry.
All right, so hopefully that gives you guys some insight into what we do on our course. I mean, I really believe in the power of creating a brand, power of creating a platform. I mean, there's just so many opportunities that can sprout from it. And whether you're out there solely driving for Uber or whether you're out there looking to do bigger things, I think getting in this type of mindset is super important, and figuring out ways to diversify your income, figuring out ways to leverage what you're doing, your experience, your knowledge into bigger and better. Because I can guarantee if you kind of just go out there and do the same thing every day, you're going to have the same results every day, right? It's sort of all about changing it up, trying new things, looking into new opportunities. And that's one of the things that I loved about starting this course. It was something that I had no experience in. I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out. I took this challenge, and did I do the perfect job right from the beginning? No. We talked all about the different mistakes that we made and how I would do it over. But I think getting over that first hump, getting over that initial hump is where a lot of people get caught up, right? I mean, you have a lot of people who have great ideas and who want to do all this different stuff, but when it comes down to it at the end of the day, they're sort of scared to take that leap of faith and scared to do it. I think it's important to do your due diligence and do your research, but then at the end of the day, it's really up to you to move forward and basically get things done. So, I think that as far as, building this course and, kind of creating this platform where people can come and get information and get it all for free is great. Obviously, I do this as a business, though. I mean, I love helping people and I love interviewing drivers and talking about all this. But I mean, I spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week doing this, and I wouldn't do it for free, right? I need to make money off of it. So it's important to kind of find those arenas or those areas where, hey, there's a business opportunity, but there's also something that you can do that you're passionate about, something that you can do that you're going to be helping people. And I think that this course is a nice outlet for that, right? Because we provide a lot of this information for free. It's just a pain in the butt to go find it and seek it all out. So for those drivers who are willing to pay for that crash course, we're actually, the way I look at it is we're sort of doing them a favor. Hey, I wouldn't have been able to create this course if I didn't get paid for it. Now, someone who's crunched for time or who just wants like the crash course to becoming a driver can go and get all this information in one great place. They have videos, they have transcripts of all the videos. They can leave a comment on each video and respond to it, right? They can join the affiliate program and start promoting it to their friends and even make their money back from the course, right? So there's all this opportunity. And what I often tell people whenever people ask what I do, and I tell them I'm a full-time blogger, podcaster, YouTuber, they always say, oh, how do you make money off of that? And I say, honestly, man, making money is the easy part, right? It's just about getting that trust with your audience, getting the knowledge, getting that content, right? The content is so important, obviously, if you're blogging or writing or YouTubing, and you'd be surprised. You don't have to have the best grammar. You don't have to have the best videos. You don't have to have the best editing or anything like that. It's really just about, can you provide good content that people want to listen to, that people want to watch, that people want to read? And I think that, hey, when I first started, my content kind of sucked, but practice, see what other smarter people than me are doing, and sort of just keep on doing new things, keep trying new things. So definitely a lot of fun. I mean, there's still some things that we could do on the course to make it a lot better. I mean, I look at other courses and they have office hours and they have upsells and one-on-one coaching and things like that. And that's sort of the nice thing about owning your product is that, hey, now we have these 4 or 5 diverse revenue streams. And if one of them, let's say driver referrals, starts to tip down below, now we can go spend some more time on this course that we own, and we can put in time and we'll see a sort of a direct correlation to that work. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that really behind the scenes look into how to run the course. If you have any questions about launching your own course, launching your own brand, I love talking about this stuff, and I'm more than happy to help you out. But that was a lot of fun for me. And if you guys are listening on the podcast or watching on the YouTube channel, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Once again, this episode is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash is expanding rapidly and in need of delivery drivers just like you. So if you're interested in diversifying your income, getting tips, that's a nice thing, and taking a break from drunk rideshare passengers, which I think we can all empathize with, you can sign up to deliver at therideshareguy.com/dasher, or head over to the show notes page for more info. Make sure that you check out all the show notes, therideshareguy.com/episode 48. You can also subscribe to email, get notifications of all our emails, all our podcasts. And if you want that free email business course that we give out over on MaximumRidesharingProfits.com, just head to MaximumRidesharingProfits.com/email, and you'll be able to sign up right there, and you'll get that free course delivered to you. You can check out. We'll also send you a video of what the actual paid course is like, and you can get more info there. And of course, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to leave me a message, send me an email, find me on social media. There's a million ways to get a hold of me, and I try to make myself very accessible. So without further ado, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.